Okay, everyone. I think we are finally getting started. So, first of all, welcome, dear IFSA members. Dear IFSA members online, we're really happy to finally have the day we've been waiting for a year, me especially, and the OC, of course. We also welcome our speakers and sponsors who are here today. It's really a pleasure to have you here in person as well. And I welcome you at my university, Eberswalde, the University of Sustainable Development. And we're really happy to have you here. 37 nations, 37 different countries are here from much more LCs, and we're really proud of having you here. Really, just think of it, from which parts of the world we just come. And I'm really happy to host you today for the program. And further, the opening ceremony is now begun, and we see a lot of new information. So don't worry, this is also recorded, and if you later want to see it again, everything will be available. If you have to go to toilet while the session is happening, the toilets are up there. And then you find the toilets. So you can go whenever you want, of course. And enjoy the next 80 minutes of speeches, of people welcoming you, and our sponsors speaking, the university president speaking. And afterwards, we're going to have a break of 20 minutes. But we're going to announce this again. I'm going to tell you. And so arrive mentally and just enjoy to have some nice thoughts of everyone, and enjoy the session. We are now welcoming the heads of OC. A big applause, please. They've led us through the amazing year, and now gonna talk to you a little.
Test. Yeah, everyone can. Yeah. All right. Yep. Perfect. Yeah. Okay. At the end of April 2022, we were in Finland for NERM, the Northern European Regional Meeting. It was the first evening, and I was so happy to be there and so happy to have participated in the organizing of the event. I realized that I didn't want to leave my IFSA career there, but shoot for something even bigger, meaning IFSS. At that point, the rolling open call for IFSS 2023 had been out for 9 months with no applicants, which meant that there would be only 15 months to organize an event for which the organizing is supposed to take 2 years. No one would sign up for that. That's just hard and stupid, right? My plan of having me talked out of this idea failed terribly, and instead LC Göttingen was tricked into it, dragging the rest of the German LCs with it. For some reason, we decided that these 15 months of hard work that none of us were exactly experienced in would be worth this outcome. Almost all of us had some experience from IFSA events, so we knew what it could mean to the people participating. Over the course of the summer, we recruited a whole team of motivated OC members willing to work for not much more than a thank you. And we'd like to thank each and every single one of them for making this happen. Unfortunately, not all of them even made it to the event in the end, but all of your work has been and is invaluable. We'd also like to thank all our sponsors and donors. Thank you to the Federal Ministry of Food and Agriculture, especially, thanks to whom we have been able to fly more than 20 people here. And thank you to the Sattelmüller Foundation, who enabled us to organize this event at such a large scale. Thank you to all our other generous sponsors and donors as well. It is because of you that we can bring this possibly once-in-a-lifetime event to the people here. So what is the kick of wanting to organize something like this, despite all the work that it requires? One of the reasons why we decided that organizing this event would be worth all the hard work was the understanding of the opportunities it could offer to people with international exchange and knowledge transfer. My first IFSS was 5 years ago in Mexico in 2018. I decided to go, even though I didn't really understand what it was about, had never heard of IFSA, and thought the whole thing might be a hoax and I might just get my organ stolen or something. Fortunately, I was wrong. And it turned out that both IFSS and IFSA were real things, and not just real, but absolutely life-changing. This 2018 IFSS was the experience that opened my eyes to the aforementioned knowledge transfer and international exchange. And of course, back then, I didn't have these fancy terms, but that's what it was. I was shaken by all that these young people were capable of and the change and movement that they were creating. I have studied in good forestry universities, but where I am, what I know, and how I understand the whole forestry sector would not be the same without IFSA. I have been taught by every IFSA event, and I have been to, and by all my co-participants, thanks to whom I have learned about many interesting perspectives. And this is the power of international exchange and knowledge transfer.
The second reason why we thought organizing this event would be worth it was that we wanted to use the chance to share the long-lived experience in German forestry. Germany has an entangled history with forestry science. Karl Karlowitz is famously the first person to write a guidebook about sustainable forest management in the early 700s, which effects are still in place today. Germany is a very densely populated country. This leads to a multitude of interests having to be considered in a relatively small forest area. Therefore, already in 1975, the German Forest Act was passed, with the aim of balancing economic and ecological interests as well as social considerations. Hosting the IFSS in Germany allows us to showcase not only the beautiful diverse forest ecosystems, but also our successes in research, the challenges we are facing, and the solutions we have to confront them. Our forests are more than just a source of timber. They're a beautiful, diverse rainbow of ecosystem services. During the next 2 weeks, they will serve as our study cases, living laboratories, and discussion grounds, where we can understand the past, learn from the present, and help shape a sustainable future. For us, the IFSS is already full of stories from the past 15 months. For you, the story is just starting. And even if we have a journey planned for you, yours will most likely vary. And that's the beauty of it. Aside from our well-arranged plot lines through current and future challenges, you will write your own story. This tour will, at some points, seem overwhelming, especially for those of you for whom it is the first international IFSA event. But don't worry, we are here to guide you through, and who knows, in a couple of years, you might be the one welcoming people to your country. After all, I never thought I was going to be here. I joined IFSA on a whim, or rather not. I just wanted to see what this ominous group of students at my university was up to. And then at my very first meeting, elections were held. And a friend encouraged me to run for LC president, unopposed. So fast forward 2 years, here I am, and I got to tell you, I don't regret a single choice that led me here.
So thank you all for being here. Thank you for making this event special by participating, and thank you for giving yourself this chance of growth and learning. I am not the same person I was 5 years ago. And if you would have met me then, you would not have believed me to be capable of the things I have been doing with IFSA for the past few years. The lack of belief would be understandable, but I don't want that to be the ruling mindset. I want you to believe in yourselves and in each other because I believe in all of you. So, we know you all have the same potential as the people in IFSA who have risen to high positions and organized big events because you chose to come here, and just like we all did once upon a time for the first time. So we urge you to make the most out of it. Don't be scared of others regardless of their position or title. Talk to as many people as you can, learn from others' experience, and share yours with them as well. Everyone here is just a student after all. We're all friends and we're all equal.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your insights and experiences you've shared. And you're going to hear much more experience, I think, in the next 2 weeks of everyone, how they come to IFSA, what they've experienced. And now I want to have a warm welcome for our IFSA president and the internal counselor, Augustine Rosillo and Isabel de la Classe.
How is everything going here? All good?
Can you hear me? Yes? Okay, great. No?
Maybe you can put it here.
In my, yeah. Do you hear me now? No?
We can just use this one.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Technical. Ready? Ready? Yeah, perfect. Here we go again. Distinguished authorities, online delegates, in-person participants, and members of the organizing committee, as board representatives of the International Forestry Students Association, we would like to thank you for participating and organizing our 51st International Forestry Students Symposium, IFSS 2023, Germany. Either if it was traveling from the other side of the world, connecting from different time zones, or contributing with your time, facilities, or resources, we thank you. Every one of you plays a key role and has contributed or will contribute to this amazing journey that we are all starting today. This is an experience that we will never forget, and Germany will forever stay in our hearts. We deeply thank the sponsors for believing in the work of our organization, and especially the OC and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture of Germany for providing 30 IFSA members with travel support. Because of your initiative and this specific contribution, we can proudly say that this is the most diverse and multicultural event in IFSA's history.
As the largest international association of students from forestry and related fields, IFSA was established in 1990 with the aim of enriching our members' education, career, and networking, and intercultural exchange. This is made entirely possible by the 130 local committees and 12,000 members from 60 countries worldwide, more than 57 officials and commissioners, 15 partner organizations, 5 peer organizations, and the unwavering support of our alumni network, IFSA-san. With the alarming rates of deforestation and devastating effects of climate change around the world, IFSA has been exerting our utmost effort to create a world that appreciates forests and their value, to foster awareness among the youth that are to become the frontrunners of this advocacy. But how exactly have we been doing this? Throughout the many years that IFSA has been operating, members gather from different parts of the world to participate in international events such as regional meetings, official meetings, and delegations, and of course, IFSS to empower our young members of their role in our advocacy. Our work as IFSA members do not stop there, of course. We ensure that our mission is being met by the three goals that all of our projects, activities, and events must manifest. These goals are strengthening the IFSA community, taking learning beyond the classroom, and enabling students to engage globally. This year, our regional meetings were conducted in the Philippines, Poland, North Macedonia, Nigeria, the United States, and Chile. 8 new LCs were accepted, while 4 more are still in the process. 1,304 projects were conducted by LCs this year, where 93.2% were local and 76.9% are in person. The most significant projects of IFSA this year were the Youth Forest Policy Days and the 2023 IFSA Virtual Job Fair, which aim to give members the space and opportunity to further their careers and education and network with organizations and companies in the forestry sector. Aside from this, IFSA's goals are also achieved through workshops and webinars, which are mostly in collaboration with our IFSA partners.
Regarding our external work this term, as IFSA, we have organized over 17 delegations for a diverse range of international forestry-related conferences and events, accounting for more than 100 delegates from 27 different countries. We have collaborated with different organizations like the International Union of Forest Research, IUFRO, Forest Europe, the European Forest Institute, the Global Landscapes Forum, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, the Forest Dialogue, the International Tropical Timber Organization, ITTO, and many more. We have developed online and in-person events, in-the-ground projects on forest education and stewardship, and global and regional consultations with the goal of contributing to our members' personal and professional development. In addition to this, we will be launching new partnerships with the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe, UNECE, the Forest Stewardship Council, FSC, the Australian Forest Product Association, and many other key stakeholders in the international forestry sector. We thank our partners for always believing in IFSA continuously supporting youth-led initiatives. To finish this intervention, we would like to share with you a little bit of our stories. It was 2020, and COVID was spreading all over the world, and people were getting locked in their houses. I was looking for something to do with my last years of university when I realized how privileged I was to be living in a rural village right on the coast of Chile, just for the simple fact of being able to go out and enjoy nature.
And I was only a 19-year-old sophomore looking for an opportunity for myself to develop my skills, meet new people, and know more about forestry while being stuck at home.
At this point, I got a call from a friend telling me about something called IFSA. It looked amazing on the webpage. Thanks, Simone. So I asked my friend, if I make a good application, can I actually be the IFSA president? At this point, we only knew that IFSA meant the International Forestry Student Association, so we realized that this wasn't the smartest idea. We decided, though, to run together and organize IFSS 2022 in Chile to show all of our IFSA members our beloved country. Never did we actually realize how much work this meant. Selling a dream, the logistics, the million of questions, and most importantly, understanding what an IFSS was. All of it was worth it, though.
And I knew that the perfect way to spend my years as a university student was joining my LC in the Philippines, because I saw how IFSA gave them amazing opportunities. I first decided to become an IFSA official in the hopes of walking the same path as them. But I realized that I wanted to do more for the organization, which is why I served as the internal counselor for 2 years.
From that day onward, 3 years ago, in a remote village in the south of the world, my life changed forever. I finally did become the IFSA president, traveled the world, represented the voice of youth in several policy spaces, got a job in the UN, made hundreds of new friends, and most important of all, I became a better person that has contributed to the future of forests around the world.
And I did not realize then that this association would change my life too, better than I ever imagined. Just like Agustin, I also had the opportunity to represent the association at conferences and events like the 15th World Forestry Congress and travel the world to spread the advocacy of IFSA to other young forestry students. Opportunities like this are always available for you, and there will be many more to come in the next terms.
If we could do it, then you can do it too. Enjoy this event, learn from each other, make this beautiful space yours, and let's keep working for a world that appreciates forest. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your insights. It's always nice to hear from you. And you did such a great job the last term and also the term before. Really impressed also from IFSS what we saw. It was our role model for designing this IFSS. And yeah, now I would like to welcome unsmoothly our university president, which made possible that we could be here in the university funding university buses. We had so much support from the university and we're so thankful for that. So thank you very much and welcome Matthias Baff.
Thanks so much and welcome everybody. It's such a pleasure to see you all here. So thanks really for taking that initiative. Thanks for sharing these insights and nice narratives. That is really impressive for me. So welcome to Eberswalde University. Welcome to a place where not only forestry is happening, but where we are also really committed to exploring, to finding and treating paths of a sustainable development in a way that lives up to our slogan that we have here at our university, that is to connect with nature for the benefit of humanity. And I'm so happy to see that event happening here. And I was really pleased to be invited to have some welcome notes. And don't worry, I do know the duty of a president. When you ask for 15 minutes of a welcome note, I will do everything but not talking 15 minutes. That for sure. So, but I'm really happy to see that there. I think, and I will talk a bit about why I think that Eberswalde University is a perfect place to start such an initiative off. But I'm also happy to see, after all that shit we went through the last couple of years with, COVID, too much online learning, being locked down, as was already mentioned. I think it's really great now seeing that increasingly people are coming together again, that we can, start again with what is so important, that learning together and from each other in an intercultural setting. So I really can only applaud you for that initiative and that you have the chance to be there and the next 16 days have such an interesting program in front of you. And what a really promising endeavor that is. So I was a bit jealous of reading through through what you have in mind and the journey that is ahead of you. That is great. I think you will visit a lot of interesting places. We'll have great opportunities to meet interesting people and get insights. So why I'm especially fond of you choosing Eberswalde as the starting and end point of this year's International Forestry Student Symposium. When I informed myself a bit more about that symposium and the organization behind it, and I did my homework, I learned that this symposium is, and allow me to quote, a platform with an atmosphere of solidarity and inspiration that enables students to participate in various forest activities, exchange information, and share their experiences. And I want to quote that because I want to go back to that for some reason. This really is framed by a vision of the International Forestry Student Association of, and I quote again, a world that appreciates forests. This describes a vision that, and it was already explained, that describes the dream of having all the people and societies on Earth to recognize the full worth of forests and fully understand forests, grasping their implications and being grateful for their multifold contributions to humanity. Nicely put. So, why is that such a good fit? Well, first of all, Eberswalde University is a place with a long-standing tradition in teaching and research on forestry. And even more importantly, on forestry in the context of sustainable development. Up to now, Eberswalde has been dedicated to sustainable education and research for more than 190 years. The Eberswalde University for Sustainable Development was founded in 1830 as the Higher Institute of Forestry, the so-called in German Höhere Forstlehranstalt. So we do have that history, but we still are a young university, because it was only after falling off the wall in Germany that the academic teaching began again in 1992 at this historic site for forest and wood research just outside of Berlin. Since then, the university has laid its focus on future-oriented industry and key sectors such as nature protection, forest management, but also organic farming, climate change adaptation, sustainable economics, timber construction, and sustainable tourism management. Today, around 2,300 students from more than 60 countries are studying here, and more than 400 employees teach, research, and work at our university. What is important to us is that sustainable development is not just in the title, and it's not just a topic. And you will find many other universities who tell you about how that is a topic for them. For us, it's not a topic. For us, it is really deeply built into our organizational DNA. So we really try to live that. And with everything we do in teaching and in research, it is towards transformation to a more sustainable world. So we understand ourselves as a university that is really an active contributor to sustainable development for civil society in the 21st century. And I hope you can see and experience a bit of that in the coming days. The mission of Eberswalde University is to lead the transformation toward a sustainable society by developing really blueprints and viable model solutions and equipping students with the necessary competences to shape the future. And we know how important such initiatives as yours are, because we do know that this equipping with competences does not necessarily, and for sure not only, happening in the classroom. What does that mean when it comes to forestry? As part of our 20 study programs we have spread over 4 faculties, we offer 2 bachelor programs and 3 master programs that address questions around forestry and how to build or how to maintain future-proof forests. The bachelor degree in forestry, run in German, educates future forest managers who meet the current economic, ecological, and social demands of forest management. Its counterpart is the international bachelor program, International Forest Ecosystem Management, which really aims to educate future professionals who are able to understand the world's forests as ecosystems and to manage them according to the principles of sustainable forestry. These 2 bachelor programs are complemented by 3 master programs in forest information technology, in forestry system transformation, and in global change management. And I don't want to go too much into detail here. You can find all details and information on all of our programs. You will find what makes them unique and what you can expect from them on our website. And you will probably have the chance in the next coming days to talk to other colleagues, to lecturers about that. What I want to point out, though, is what we want to do with such a more and more nuanced portfolio of study programs we have at Eberswalde University. Because we aim for learning environments that empower students to become change agents. And this also addresses the question of what is happening outside the classroom as well, as we know with the limited chances we have with teaching and sort of transporting knowledge just inside the classroom. What we are aiming for and what we want to see is critical thinkers who can think and act outside the box. We do not just want to train for a certain understanding, but we want our students really to engage with different opinions, with different ideas and beliefs, and to really to engage with ways to with finding new ways of problem solving for the challenges ahead of us. And I think this is what connects us also to your initiative, and this is what I heard that you are aiming for as well. Our teaching approach then is also complemented in research. We have a number of successful interdisciplinary problem solution-oriented research projects in a transdisciplinary way, really engaging with the question of how we can work on that human-nature relationship and what role forests will and should play for that. Finally, and this is not to be forgotten, here at Eberswalde Universities, we have also the obligation to live up to our name, being a university for sustainable development. At Eberswalde University, sustainability is not only an integral part of teaching and research, it is also consistently applied in how we are running this university, how we understand ourselves as a learning institution. So we try to build this in all the procedures, in all the processes which let us run that university. And I hope you will have the chance to see and experience at least some of them when you're looking around at the university. In recognition of this, the university was certified already in 2009 with the European Eco-Label EMAS for its pioneering environmental management. We also have been recently awarded as a best practice learning environment for education for sustainable development, something we are really proud of because it acknowledged our whole institution approach. And this came through the German UNESCO Commission. So therefore, I really trust that you will find an atmosphere of solidarity and inspiration as it was laid out in what this symposium should be about. With the care and the focus on details I saw so far through the organizer and the volunteers involved, everything is in place for that. I trust on that. Our campus here in the forest should only frame that nicely. And what you called an hard stupidity, I can only applaud you for. I think it's exactly the right thing to do. So I'm sure it will pay off in the coming days. I also wish you fruitful, inspiring, and insightful forestry activities and plenty of opportunities to exchange information, to share experiences, as you set out as something you're expecting to come. But there is more, and if I dare to say, I wish you even more. I wish you not only to experience, observe, and learn, but I wish you also to question, to dream, and to initiate. I think that is equally important. Because there is obviously much out there to learn from, and you will experience that in the days to come. But there's also much out there to be critically reflected, and we need you as a next generation of young people to really approach this. We need a next generation with a regenerative approach, with new ideas, approaches, and most important, with the willingness to also go new paths, find new paradigms, to help society understand, acknowledge, and keep the tremendous values forests offer for us. So I hope your success on that. I wish you all the best for this. Have a great time here and around. I wish you all the best for the coming days. Enjoy your time at Eberswalde University.
Thank you very much again, Mr. Ward. I also want to hear special thanks to our faculty dean, who is Mr. Kremer, who also helped us a lot in the organization here, also part of the university. And in general, thank you for the inspiring words. It was really nice. We are now having to welcome a representative of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, Stephen Durr, which we have to thank for the sponsoring of over 20 people to come here, which is historic in IFSA funding. So it was really, really nice. Thank you again. Welcome, Stephen Durr.
Yeah, thank you for the very, very warm welcome. It is a pleasure to be here. And we are just setting up my old school presentation. Oh, good. So that's my email address right there. I have to admit I sent it late last night, so it's last minute. Perfect. Thank you very much. And once again, very warm welcome from my side. My name is Stephen Durr, and I'm working for the Federal Ministry for Food and Agriculture. And on behalf of the Federal Ministry, I also want to welcome you here at University Eberswalde. It is a pleasure for us to sponsor your event. We deem it very, very, very important, youth involvement. And yes, I would like to talk to you about international forest policy, because this is what we are doing at the ministry, and this is potentially also what you might want to do later if you want to pursue a career in politics. I am working at the Federal Ministry since 2020, so I started right at the outset of the Corona pandemic. And yeah, I would like to tell you a little bit about my work. I work in the unit of European and international forest policy. And I would like to tell you quickly where we're at, what's at stake. I mean, I'm sure you all know this. Then I would like to present to you the objectives that we as a German federal ministry have. I would also like to give you an overview of the very different action fields that we're operating in, and especially also the different levels that we operate in. The instruments that we have to pursue our objectives or to reach our objectives, both on the global level but also nationally. Then our tools with which we can influence these objectives, or in the way we reach these objectives, and then also give you a little conclusion and outlook. So I'm pretty sure you all know where we're coming from or what's at stake. We still battle with increasing deforestation worldwide. There's approximately 10 million hectares of primary forests lost annually. And forest degradation is happening on a multiple of the area. This leads to loss of prospects and future options for the people who are dependent on the forest, but not only in the very affected countries, but worldwide. There are complex causes that lead to this situation and that effectively hinder sustainable forest management. There are environmental, economic, and social impacts at global and local level, impacting the global and local level. And of course, we are situated in a changing, and now with the Russian aggression against Ukraine, an even more fragile world order. Having this in mind, we do pursue objectives. We, as a economically very strong nation, do have global responsibility, and we want to assume and take this global responsibility. We want to stop and reverse deforestation and forest degradation. Our goal is to promote sustainable forest management and afforestation, reforestation, and restoration efforts. We are here to improve the coherence of forest policy, which I will talk about later a little bit as well. We want to upscale and accelerate current support measures that are being implemented in different countries all around the world. And we want to improve forest financing, because that's also a very crucial aspect of accelerating change. So while we have these, let's say, global responsibility, we also, of course, have national interests as a federal ministry, serving German society, and we want to protect the German forest and wood sector, especially from low-price competition that originates from exploitation and illegal logging, mostly. It is very important to maintain the positive image of the renewable resource wood, to safeguard the positive image of the German forestry, and which is also why we're here, to promote knowledge transfer. and ensure raw material supply for the bioeconomy of the future. For example, vis-à-vis the EU protected area objective, in the EU biodiversity strategy, there's a goal to protect 30% of EU land and 10% set aside. So this can sometimes conflict other goals, such as ensuring raw material supply for the bioeconomy. And we're trying to find solutions for this. So here's a little graphic on the different levels that we're operating in. In the center, of course, we have forests and the forest and wood sector, or the forest sector and the wood and timber industry. Then that's not depicted. Of course, we have the national level that also influences forests through national strategies. But we have the EU level, that's what we want to focus on, or the EU and international level. So we have the EU level with a multitude of different strategies, policies that also affect forests and national forest policy as well. So we have, for example, I already mentioned it, the biodiversity strategy, the EU forest strategy. We have the FLEG program, which stands for Forest Law Enforcement, Governance and Trade, with the recent deforestation regulation, for example. We have the Fit for 55 package, which contains the LULUCF regulation, the Renewable Energy Directive, and also some part also the taxonomy regulation. Then on the pan-European level, which is basically in between the international and the European level, we have the Forest Europe process. I don't know if you have heard of the Forest Europe process. You have, and I think IFSA is also engaged in the Forest Europe process as an observer, I think. So currently Germany has the chairmanship over the Forest Europe process. And this is also very important for us to shape the, let's say, concept of sustainable forest management, the definition and the criteria and indicators, which is where Forest Europe is the safeguard or the shepherd of this concept. And then overall, overarching, we have, of course, the international level or the United Nations level. First and foremost to mention here are, of course, the UNFCCC, the CBD, the Paris Agreement, but we also have multilateral initiatives where also you are a part of. For example, we have the newly founded Forest and Climate Leaders Partnership, but we also have for a longer time the Amsterdam Declaration Partnership. And of course, in the forest sector, very important, the United Nations Forum on Forests and the United Nations Strategic Plan on Forests as part of the Agenda 2030 and the Sustainable Development Goals. So after talking a little bit about the levels, you can see already, and I mentioned this already a little bit, how many different action fields we are operating in as well. So of course we have forest policy as the core as the core policy, let's say, or where forest policies directly affect forests and their sustainable forest management with, as I already mentioned, the UN Strategic Plan for Forests and our chairing in the Forest Europe process. We have the agriculture and food policy, for example, the EU deforestation regulation. We have the environment and climate policy, very important, and I guess these three are the most influential ones, but also from other sectors. So the trade and finance policy also has an effect with international trade agreements, sustainable finance framework. We have development policy, of course, with the Agenda 2030, and also security policy aspects, because forests also sometimes are fueling armed conflicts, so the blood timber, for example. And also in the frame of our Forest Europe chairmanship, we initiated a support process for the Ukrainian forests and the Ukrainian forest sector. So this comes also into play. So which instruments do we have? Does the international community have, let's say? Of course, there's the overarching Agenda 2030 with its Sustainable Development Goals. We also have non-legally binding resolutions. We have high-level committees with heads of state or government who, of course, can push certain things and create a lot of attention for specific problems. We have special representatives that all in all can also organize, very importantly, multilateral financing. And then within the UN, most importantly, we have the legally binding conventions. Currently, of course, everyone is, for rightfully so, talking about climate change. So we have the UNFCCC and the Paris Agreement and also the Convention on Biological Diversity. So as independent instruments, these are very advantageous because they are long-term, they have a long outlook, let's say. That's why we can build transparency and trust. We can ensure monitoring and a level playing field and also capacity building. And since this is 4-3 and not 16-9, the last point is not visible here, but this is also the reason with, let's say, or the disadvantage of legally binding conventions is that we, you could say or argue, unfortunately, don't have a internationally agreed forest law, because there are always certain UN member states that vetoed the development or, let's say, the international agreed forest law. So outside of the UN, when we're looking more into government measures or government instruments, we have multilateral intergovernmental cooperation, mostly on specific topics. For example, illegal logging, which is being dealt with, or partly being dealt with the program FLEGT, Forest Law Enforcement, Governance and Trade, where the European Union does or agrees voluntary partnership agreements with third countries to, as I'm sure you know, to streamline timber imports into the EU and have less taxes and no problems, let's say, at the border. So a green lane. We have with the Amsterdam Declaration Partnership, we are promoting deforestation-free supply chains for commodities that are usually connected with deforestation. We also, of course, have bilateral cooperation with countries where the German government sets out contracts with different countries to set up a project or measures or all sorts of things. And then with or without government participation, we have consumer-oriented measures that mostly also includes the private sector. So, for example, there's certification, of course, as a very prominent example, voluntary carbon markets and sustainable finance. However, the problem here is with those instruments that are multilaterally or bilaterally agreed, or measures that are bilaterally agreed, this leads to a high degree of fragmentation of different approaches where countries are helping other countries and implementing different measures. So there's a lot of different approaches and a lot of different measures at international level. So a very high degree of fragmentation here. We also have tools to influence, let's say, in the way how we reach our goals. The first or most prominent of one is, of course, financing, and Germany here is one of the largest donors for the forest sector with 500 million euros per year. We also set up projects with countries or regions all around the world, and here we are especially focusing on pilot projects that have a multiplier effect. We support and implement international events such as this one here. We engage in networking and we try to build confidence. We deploy staff to international processes in the UN. It's also called secondment. And we chair processes, as I just mentioned, for example, the Forest Europe chair. And also very, very important is that we want to promote youth development through, for example, training courses or exchange programs. Finally, let me give you a little conclusion and outlook where we are and where we try to be. Also with hopefully one day your support, and you will pursue this further. So we have a very complex and intertwined dynamic forest governance. This is not getting easier at all. As I mentioned, this is the forest governance arena is very fragmented, and there's increasing requirements on forestry or for forestry, and also societal demands for the multitude of forest functions. So forests for a long time are not only serving economic purposes anymore, rightfully so. We have major macroeconomic opposing forces to sustainable forest management that need to be identified and addressed. We need to strengthen synergies in order to being able to upscale and accelerate the measures, the global measures that we're, as an international community, are undertaking. And we need to promote a balanced forest policy with a multifunctional approach to sustainable forest management in order to address sometimes conflicting goals. This is still and should still be, in our view, the answer to the answer from the forest sector to the challenges that we have, to the challenges that lay ahead with climate change, with biodiversity loss. So we need to have here a balanced approach to address these conflicting goals and also the increasing policy fragmentation. But most importantly, we need and we count on your continued engagement for us to also be able to do the work. Please continue to be engaged, continue to be uncomfortable, and continue to involve yourself within all these processes. And I hope that maybe in the future you will also pursue a career in whatever field, as long as it's with forests. Thank you very much.
Thank you again for this insightful presentation on forest policy. It was really nice, this overview. So now we have another sponsor which sent us a video because they unfortunately cannot be here in person, but they are also a big contributor to make, wait, 1 second, to make this event happen. This is the Foundation Sattermühle. They are providing a lot of interesting funding for students, also for master thesis, for bachelor thesis, for a lot of different sectors. And they just started 2 or 3 years ago, so it's not an old foundation. It's starting already. 1 second, please. We have the technical issues in again.
We have online people to take care of.
Yes. I hope people online are still feeling good. Greetings to you, wherever you are. Maybe you can write in the chat where you are from. It would be really interesting. And yes, join our Telegram channel to get more information, insights.
Dear IFSA members,
Okay,
one more heartfelt welcome to the IFSS 2023.
we are starting.
We are tremendously sorry that we cannot join you today in person, but did not want to miss for the world to at least wish you 2 exciting and exchange-enhancing weeks. Having read through your program and talked to your most engaged one more heartfelt welcome to the IFSA. Dear IFSA members, one more heartfelt welcome to the IFSS 2023. We are tremendously sorry that we cannot join you today in person, but did not want to miss for the world to at least wish you 2 exciting and exchange-enhancing weeks. Having read through your program and talked to your most engaged organization team a number of times, we are sure you will make lots of memories and acquaintances during the oncoming days. If I talk about we, I am referring to the board members of the Sattelmühle Stiftung, representing a private, not-for-profit organization located in Estal, Rheinland-Pfalz, owning 470 hectares of mixed forest and meadow, alongside a small but beautiful ensemble of historic buildings in the southwest of Germany, and being one of the financial supporters of this year's IFSS. My name is Jessica, and I am one of the 4 members of the advisory board, alongside the 2 members of the management board of Sattelmühle Stiftung, and it is my pleasure to welcome you today and shortly introduce our foundation to you. When the organization team approached us with the idea of supporting a congress of the forestry scientists of the future, originating from across nearly all continents, we felt right from the start that this would be a great opportunity to contribute to our mission, protect nature, sustain life. As a not-for-profit organization, we concentrate on research and development, as well as education across all age groups, focusing on the enhancement of nature protection, landscape conservation, and the science of forestry. This in regard to the environment and climate as a whole, but also to individual habitats such as forests, lakes, meadows, coastlines, and anything else associated to nature. According to our bylaws, we may accomplish this in particular by supporting nature-oriented forestry and forest management, the sponsorship of university and similar institutions focusing on such matters, and by offering our estate and its surrounding forest as a location for research and development. It has been our great pleasure to welcome a number of students from University Freiburg during the last couple of years for 2 weeks of concentrated field studies, for example. Currently, we are in the process of planning to restructure all of the buildings and their source of energy to not only offer meeting room capacities, but also overnight accommodations in the future to further our intention of becoming a state-of-the-art, climate-neutral location for research and development in regard to nature protection, landscape conservation, and the science of forestry. Next to this remodeling, we are also in the process of realigning our concept of forestry away from a more or less unused forest towards a forest focusing on biodiversity to make the forest the fittest it can be in the face of the oncoming challenges of climate change. The focus of our current work, however, lies in the financial support of projects such as the IFSS. In September, we will celebrate the winners of this year's Sattelmühle Award for the most promising bachelor's, master's, and PhD thesis, granted for the 2nd year in a row by an academic committee. The Sattelmühle Award is granted for qualitatively outstanding and extraordinary innovative feats in the science of forestry. Moreover, we financially contribute to the biggest public scholarship program in Germany yet to support students from the disciplines close to the purposes of our bylaws with a monthly allowance to enable them to focus on their studies, the so-called Deutschlandstipendium. Additionally, we support national and international field trips of universities to enable their studentry to collect practical experience and enhance their professional network. Last but not least, we also enable courses of various associations to train the next generation of educationists for nature and climate protection across all age groups. Why did I describe this in all this much detail? To encourage you to think on us if, for example, you're heading a not-for-profit organization looking for financial support to realize a project. The university you study with is considering to organize a field trip to enhance your practical experience, but is lacking the financial means to do so. Or you're looking for a place in the southwest of Germany to host your seminars. Or you would like to hand in your bachelor, master's, or PhD thesis to have a go at our Sattelmühle Award next year. Let me close our greeting by wishing you not days, but wonderful weeks ahead. Lots of long-lasting acquaintances, professional insights for your future work, and of course, just the right degree of fun. All the best from our side, and wishing you lots of fun. Goodbye.